Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, author of Visualizing Happiness in Every Area of Your Life and host of this podcast, Incredible Life Creator. And today I have with me Reverend Lydia Fougères. Hey, Reverend Lydia.
Hello, hello, hello to everyone. Thank you for having me, by the way. I'm very happy.
Yes, it's
So,
lovely to have you.
yes, we have been talking a lot, and finally I get to see you and your happy smile, and it is wonderful to actually see you uh, with a camera because we speak on the phone. So that is great.
Yes, it is. It is. So, just so other people know you, I'm going to just read your short bio. So, Reverend Lydia Fougères is a Canadian author born in a small mining town in eastern Canada. She is fluent in both English and French. She is a very independent woman, always willing to stand for others' rights. She has been a bookworm all her life and has started practicing meditation at a very young age. She is a born medium and energy healer. Where she was born and raised, where there were no forms of racism whatsoever. So she grew up in the frame of mind that everyone was equal, no matter the color, language, or religion. She is a loving mother and grandmother. She has been known for all the charity work she has done in her life. All right, and there's a whole lot more, but I'm going to let you tell your story, Reverend Lydia. Tell us about you, how you started out, how you got to be doing all the things you're doing.
Well, it started out a weird way. I was 5 years old, and my father told me to wait for him. So he told me to observe a blade of grass. So I started observing the blade of grass, but he told me that I had to observe the same blade of grass all the time that he was away. So I did so, and I'm a very patient person. So I was born patient. So I started observing, and then, he came back hours later. And when he came back, he said, "Okay, so what did you see?" I said, "Dad, I saw it growing." So he said, "Yes." And I said, "There's light around it." And so I started explaining the energy field of the blade of grass. And my father said, "Finally, you have it," because my father was a healer also. I come from a family of healers and energy guides. So he wanted me to see the energy that was coming from the grass. And that is why I started meditating. I started working with energy. I'm a born medium, and that is it. And since I was born in a town where it was a mining town, and it was a town where actually everyone was young because it was a mining town. It was a closed mining town, and everyone was equal. There was no racism. Well, there was no there was nothing wrong actually in my town. Everyone was quite happy, and we as children we pretty much had everything because the mining company, would give us all the facilities that we wanted. So we were very happy children, and that made us a bit unaware of what was going on in the world. Even if we had the television, we did not really understand what was going on, because the thing is that for us, it was far. And it was like sometimes it seemed impossible what we were saying and seeing. And racism did not exist. Was only one family from Haiti in our town, and he was our mayor. so So that was the way I was raised. I was raised with equality, and I was raised that everyone is equal, and everyone should be happy. That was the way I was raised.
That is beautiful. And then one day you left that small town because you were telling me before we got on today about, your freedom trip, if you will.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The day I realized I was free, that was quite a day. I was 46 years old. I had been going through a divorce. And finally, I realized I did not owe an apology to anyone. I did not have to take care of anyone. I was a registered nurse pretty much all my life before being a reverend. So I did not have to take care of anyone, only myself, because I had been ill for several years. And the only person that I had to take care of was myself. And I did not owe an explanation to anyone. And it was the first time in my life I realized I did not owe an explanation to anyone. So I was heading to my parents' place. They did not know I was going. And all of a sudden, I was on red light and I realized, hey, I do not have to go there. All I have to do is I turn around and go somewhere where I can find peace. So I had a backpack and I had a tent in my car because I'm quite wild. So the thing was quite wild in a good way, by the way. And so that is it. So I headed for the United States, for the state of New York, because I'm in Canada. So I crossed the border when 9/11 had not occurred. So when I went there, I said, I don't know where I'm going, and I'm just looking for peace. That is all. So I ended up in a retreat for 10 days, and that was such a happy moment. So when I came back, well, everyone was looking for me naturally, that's for sure, but they were looking for me in Canada, but that was not where I was. So, yes, I gave them a scare, but at the same time, I found peace and was going on multiple retreats. So that is why I'm so happy in my life. I find peace everywhere.
That is wonderful. Now, you did go through that time where you were very ill. Do you want to talk about that and actually how do you came out of that?
Okay, yes, I was very ill. I have to admit, in 2000, in the year 2000, I ended up with a parasite that pretty much took all my immune system away, and I was bedridden for 2 years. After that, I was in a wheelchair, and my world seemed to fall apart when it came to other people that were looking at the situation. But instead of having my world apart, what I did is that I took that time to actually reflect on life. So while people were crying because I was supposed to die, I was told I would not make it. So instead of crying, I had decided that I would see my daughter graduate. She was 8 at the time, and I did see the graduation. So I'm so happy. And the thing is that also, um, I was not sad at all. And when someone was sad around me, I would say, what is your problem? I have no problem. What is your problem? So that is the way I was looking at life because I was completely in communication with the source. Call it whatever you want, the God, the divine source, whatever, nobody can has a real name for it. So the thing is that I was in communication with the source, directly with the source, and I see the light, that so-called light that people say does not exist. I do see it. I see when the source comes to me to talk to me, I do see it.
Mhm.
So it's 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 something that we cannot describe. It's a happiness, a joy that is impossible to live other than in that sphere of light. We cannot find happiness on earth. We cannot find that happiness other than in that light. It's impossible. Find everything, look outwards, you will never find it. It's inward. It is really inward that you find the happiness that you know about happiness. So the thing is that it's inward, we find it, it's not outward. People look outward for happiness, it's not there, it is inside, absolutely inside. You know that.
Yeah, absolutely is. There's a lot of people who have illnesses or a lot of pain, or they're just suffering in some way, sometimes even emotional pain. And sometimes when a person's in that pain, it's really hard for them to mm, look outside of that for, for that hope, for that, um, you know, it's like to change their mindset, if you will. So, any thoughts on that? Like, if someone just feels like they're kind of stuck or having difficulty moving out of that, because, we can feel pain and still, you know, have hope.
Well, the thing that I would recommend is not tell them that it could be worse. This is the first thing that I would recommend. I do not buy that kind of talk to tell someone, okay, or compare them to someone else that has a worse burden. Because I always said something. If someone has a broken arm and the next person has a broken arm, you do not give them the same amount of painkillers because they both have broken arms at the same place, but their pain is different. So it is the same thing when it comes to emotions. So we cannot compare the emotions of someone, whether the situation is the same or not. We can never do that. The important thing is that we respect them. And the best thing to do is not say a word and listen to them.
Mm.
That is all they need. They need us to listen because when we listen, we are aware. We are aware of what they are going through and we are aware of the surrounding. So we have a glimpse at the problem and maybe we have a solution, but the problem is that people listen to talk back. But the only reason that you should listen is to listen and not talk back. So that is the way a person should act, actually. When a person is in pain, we just listen, and no matter how long they are moaning and groaning, they are in pain. And whatever time it takes, we do take it. So we schedule a time. Sometimes we cannot listen to a person. We have to be honest. Sometimes we do not have the time to listen to a person. So we schedule a time. We schedule a time. We schedule how long. And we tell them, I have so many minutes to give you, so many hours to give you, and but they are yours. I will listen for those hours or those minutes, which are very important. And those things, those time, this time actually can change the spur of the life of the person, because sometimes you can change for a person that is suicidal. By listening, you can change their mind completely without even saying a word.
Yeah, that is so true. Just think of all the people who feel like no one listens to them, or no one pays attention to them. Because I mean, attention is a form of currency, and everyone would like to at least be acknowledged. And and then when you give them your time, that is more valuable than money or than a lot of things.
Yes, absolutely. You know, time is everything because it's precious. This is absolutely precious because when you give time, you give love.
Mhm.
So that is it. It is like people that volunteer. You know, I see a lot of people that volunteer. And some people say, oh, you know, they don't do it that way and that way. They're not supposed to do it that way. So what I answer to those people that are not very happy with the volunteer, I say, you know what? Volunteer means they're not paid and they did not find they were not hired, they're not paid, and they didn't do not know how to do the job they're learning. So be patient. That's a volunteer.
That truly is. And let's talk about healing. You talked about, someone listening to another person, but sometimes people are suffering alone. They might not have family or friends around. And I've heard of people being miraculously, healed from their determination, from their prayers, from their determination. And if someone is in that situation, what would be what would you tell them? What would you be their advice to encourage themselves?
Well, I will say the first thing, prayer helps.
Prayer
No
does help.
matter the form of prayer, I always say prayer helps. Always the time, I always say that prayer helps. But there is also, you have all kinds of methods to heal. So to each his own. That is the way it works. I help people heal with energy. That is the way I help. I used to help as a nurse. I still believe, I do still believe in nursing. I believe in the Western medicine, absolutely. I do believe also in energy healing because we elevate vibrations. So I believe in both worlds. If a person comes to me and they want to stop their medication, I will say, no, I'm not seeing you. That is the first thing that I will do. I will say, if you go that route, I will not see you. You have to work with your doctor and with me. So we have to have results. But the results for me are that they go on and they follow the route they are following with their medical doctor, though, because, you know, we did not invent the wheel. And there, it's by combining both medicine, actually, that we get results. Some people do not have any hope. So the medicine does not help.
Mhm.
So without hope, no matter how many cancer treatments you have, if you do not have hope of survival, you will not survive. That is the way it happens. Because survival rate for people that are without hope is very low. But with people that actually go through cancer, I'm saying cancer because that's an example. It's a well-known disease. So let us say a person has cancer and you find humor. You just make them find humor, and you just bring them to the movies. You joke around with them. Everything is not drama. You don't become a drama queen or a drama king because they have cancer, and you just don't talk about it because the thing is that there's nothing to talk about. They know. They already know. They're plunged into it. So they had their mind has to be diverted to something fun.
Mhm.
So that is the way you do it. You just you do that and you elevate the vibrations. Elevating the vibrations is, healers do that. We do that with different methods. I, I do Reiki. I do chakra healing, uh, crystal bowls. I do many things. I as a reverend actually listen. I listen with a lot of attention. And I do not play psychiatrist at all. I never do because, I'm not there for that. I'm there to listen.
Mhm. Exactly. So, how did you go from nursing and Western medicine into energy healing and all the things that you've been trained in at this point?
Oh, I was always in energy healing. Even when I was working at the hospital, I was helping people with the energy healing. I just did not mention it. That is all. I just was, if someone was realizing I was like hocus pocus a little bit, they would just, what are you doing? Um, I would try to explain, and they'd say, oh, that's really interesting.
Mhm.
And I work a lot with guided imagery. Guided imagery. I started working with guided imagery. I was 25 years old,
Mhm.
and I write guided imageries. And I love working with them because my first real break with, guided imagery was someone that was quadriplegic. She was never supposed to walk. She was never supposed to be able to hold anything. He had a very serious car accident. I was working in neurosurgery. I was the assistant head nurse there. And he was in a lot of fear. So what I decided to do is that I decided to visit that patient every single night. And I would read him I would tell him a guided imagery where we were walking, he
Mm,
and I, in a place that we both knew. And
uh-huh.
I would walk with him mentally at the same place every single day.
Mhm.
But believe it or not, after 6 months, that patient could walk. He started by moving his hands. I was just like taken aback. Then I have no explanation, but he got out of the hospital only with crutches.
That's
So, and
amazing.
then,
Wonderful.
it was, I think it was one of the most beautiful realizations in my life when I saw that patient walk out of the hospital with only crutches and his wife. And it was so beautiful. And after that, I went on doing guided imageries. I went on working with people, encouraging people. So listening to people. I was just like and I was going in the chapel to pray for people. And so actually my way of practicing nursing was different from other people.
Mm, for sure. For sure. And then when did you decide to be a reverend? When did that start, or how did?
When I started writing in metaphysics, I decided that, why not? So I completed a master's in metaphysics, and now I'm doing my PhD in metaphysics. And that's how I decided to be a reverend because, I thought I was fit to to be a reverend. I thought, I had the altruism to be a reverend, and I wanted to help. So that is the way I decided to be a reverend. But I come from a family where I had a great uncle that was a reverend. My aunts were nuns. So I come from a very religious background. But they are, religion. It's about religion. Metaphysics is about all religions, all faiths. So the thing is that I'm not stopping myself to one faith. I just believe that everything is fine. I believe that there's good in every faith. I just believe that those that actually use it in a bad way, that is the problem with the faith. It is not the faith as such, it is the way it is used. Because religion is necessary, absolutely necessary, because it creates order. It does create chaos, I do understand, but it creates order also. So if you were to understand that, on earth, there are not enough police officers to control the entire population, there's got to be some form of control. And religion is a form of control in a sense. But if it is well practiced, well, it is good. But if the leaders are not good, well, it is harmful.
Exactly. So now you've written a book. You want to talk about your book now and how people use that book?
Well, I wrote two. I wrote three. So I wrote 111 Reflections for Thy Earth Odyssey, Tome 1. I wrote 111 Reflections for Thy Earth Odyssey, Tome 2. And Tome 3 is coming out soon. My books are reflections that I've had throughout the years because of all kinds of things that happened to me or whatever. So I use those reflections and I ask people to journal the reflections. So there's 111 in the first one. And so it's 111. 111 is the portal to the universe. So the universe opens with the number 111. It's always like that. 111, there's the portal. So with the book one, I open the portal of the universe for the person that is the reader and the one that is doing the assignment. Then they do the second book. With the second book is still 111 reflections. But the thing is that they will be finished with 222 because we add the sum. So 222 is a number that fixes situations. So they are fixing their situations by doing the reflections because in the book one, they have opened the portal. Second book, they are fixing situations. In the third book, they will have 333 reflections. 333 is the number of the ascended masters. No matter the religion, ascended masters are in every faith. So no matter. So the ascended masters actually surround the person that is working the reflections also. So with those books, they journal, and year after year, when they are working with their journals, what happens is that, they are changing. They are working on their self-respect, self-esteem, and they are changing. And what happens is that as they change, the way they see the reflections actually is quite different from year to year. So the journaling helps them do the work. Like I wrote one that is to reach the divine source, you have to open 1,000 petals. I'm going to do a spoiler because that one is a very difficult reflection. So you have to open 1,000 petals. With the chakras, when you have the chakra, the crown chakra, it is described by the lotus flower. The lotus flower is actually called the 1,000 petal flower. So since it is the crown chakra, which is the way to reach the divine source, you open the lotus petal, the lotus flower, and then you have the 1,000 petals that are open, which reaches the divine source. So that is why I say open the 1,000 petals and you will be able to reach the divine source.
Wonderful. So they read like a passage, like if they're looking at the book, is it just like 1 or 2 pages they're reading and then they're journaling, or how does that work?
Well, I suggest they do one reflection at a time, not go through the book just like that, because they will read one reflection, they will say, okay, I thought about that one, but, and then they will come with, okay, I thought about that one, but, and they will write the way they are seeing that reflection. And then the year after, they will take the book again. So that's why I suggest for them not to write in the book, actually, unless they want to purchase the book every single year. But I suggest they take a notebook and they journal their reflections in the notebook so that they can be able to read back how they were thinking the year before, so that they can actually say, hey, I have made so much progress in the way I am, and I open my mind so much, because minds are like parachutes. They have to be open to work.
That's right. That's right. And sometimes we don't realize how far we've come if we don't have something recorded or written down.
Exactly. Exactly. That is the way it works. So
Yeah.
we really, by working with the reflections, actually, we work on ourselves at all times. So we keep them handy. We reread them, we reread our reflections, and we work on our spiritual growth. And we learn to live without judgment, and we learn to have an open mind and to try to get along with the others. And with that, there will be a change on earth. If people all start thinking the way I think, well, there will be massive changes.
Yeah, or just having people reflect and thinking about why they think a certain way, why they do certain things. Because without examination, we don't make changes. We don't even see the need for change. But when you take a moment and even examine yourself and say, what am I doing? And is this what I really want to be doing? Is this who I want to be? This is how I want to show up in the world. That's really different than just going along absent-mindedly.
Exactly. Like people say, I'll take an example of the Bible, which I do not, I do not promote the Bible at all. I just take the bread. When they talk about the bread, people think it's literally the bread. No, it's not bread. It's not bread because bread is everything. It's it's the money, it's the prosperity, it is everything. It represents everything. When they mention the bread in the Bible, actually they talk about everything that the human being should have, can have, is provided. So when you have someone that actually, when they go to work, what is the expression that that person wins the bread? Well,
Mhm,
that's it. That person wins the bread. Well, that means that person wins the entire grocery, pays the
mhm,
bills and everything. So that does not mean, so there is a spiritual meaning to bread and there is a material meaning to bread. So
mhm,
people have to understand that there are several ways to understand a word,
mhm,
whether in a metaphysical way or in just with the dictionary.
mhm.
With the dictionary, bread is bread, huh? But when you think with metaphysical thoughts, you will see bread as different. So that's why I ask people to open their mind.
Mhm. That makes so much sense. I'm visiting my parents in Florida, and my mom was having a Bible study, and they were talking about the birth of Jesus when Mary and Joseph were traveling to Bethlehem, and they were talking about no room in the inn, but they were really saying the word no room in the guest room because they were actually traveling to where all their family lived. And a lot of people would have their main room where they lived, and they'd all have a guest room. So, and all the people were going to pay taxes. So the whole family was arriving. And so basically, people arrived and they had taken all the guest rooms. But we didn't understand that without looking at the word that it came from, the original word. It wasn't talking about a hotel or an inn. It was talking about that everyone's guest rooms were full.
Exactly.
And I found that
Exactly.
very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. And
Yes, very interesting. It's like people say, many people say, those that do not know Jesus will not be saved. Well, I'm sorry for them because the thing is that those that do not know Jesus, there are millions, billions of people that do not know about Jesus, and there's room for everyone. So they might not know Jesus' name, but they are good people. So the important thing is to be good. So I do understand that some people insist on it's got to be Jesus, but we cannot impose a certain prophet on everyone. It is too much. We should not try to impose. We should let everyone practice their faith and respect their faith according to the way they are. And the important thing is that they are good and they are respectful and they are willing to help their neighbor. And as I say in my book, they say, love thy neighbor like thyself, love thy enemy like thyself. Okay, so if we say love thy enemy like thyself, so why do we call them enemies by to start with?
mhm,
So if we love them, They should not even be called enemies. So that is the way it works. We should try to love them instead of calling them enemies. That is the way it's supposed to work. We have to try to work the problem around.
Mhm. Yeah, and seek to understand. I think part of it's just seeking to understand each person. Because sometimes we look at someone's behavior and we think, why are they doing that? It might be hurtful or just damaging even to themselves. And you think to yourself, why is that person doing that? And if we can try and understand where they're coming from, it really helps us to be able to communicate and to just maybe even, help them go in the direction that would be maybe more beneficial.
Yes, but people are not really bad. They take bad decisions. That's the problem.
Mhm.
It's not that they really are bad as such. They take bad decisions. That is all. Some people take bad decisions their entire life, from beginning to end. They are a constant bad decision, a series of bad decisions. But others are just like wise and take wise decisions. And you don't understand it, but there is the environment also. You know, you have to look at the big picture. When someone does not act well,
Mhm.
you know, makes someone else ashamed or whatever. We are in a time where many people are ashamed of all kinds of situations. We have to understand something. We do not understand their background. We do not understand what was around them. We do not understand how they were raised. We do not understand what was said to them, their teachers, their family. We do not understand that. We do not understand how they were treated. We do not understand if they were loved or not. We do not understand that. So we have to try to understand the point of view that we did not go through their life. That is the way it happens. So, like I used to say to police officers when I was doing private services for them, sometimes the criminals are shot, they need some assistance. So the thing is that, I used to say when that criminal, well, we'll say criminal, um, was 5 years old, do you think that they said they wanted to be a criminal at 5 years old when the teacher asked them? No. The teacher asked them what they wanted to do. They said, like you, they wanted to be a police officer. They wanted to drive an ambulance. They wanted to be a lawyer, a doctor, whatever, like you. But life happened and they did not take your route. That is all. So that is the way it works. They did not take your route. And they were not lucky enough to take your route because of their surrounding.
Exactly. So I want to switch to a different topic now and just talk about that first thing we talked about your freedom, that you had your tent and you were ready to go. And even now, I know you love the outdoors and nature. And, what does that mean for you just to be out in nature and be part of it?
Well, I go out in nature a lot because I feel, yes, I do feel freedom. I am in synchronicity with the animals, with everything around me. I have a partner that is exactly like me. He thinks exactly like me. So we go in the woods, and I'm a person that I hunt. Actually, I do hunt. I fish. I hunt. So I know it's weird, a reverend that hunts and fish, but the thing is that it is we do not kill to kill. We just my partner has this saying that one bullet, one deer. If it's not that way, he won't shoot. So that is the way he thinks. So no cruelty whatsoever, and no killing to kill. That is all. Only for the food, and that's the end of it. Because when you think about nowadays, when you think about the price of food, because everything has increased, well, people have a tendency to go hunting a little more. and go fishing a little more. So that is the way it is. And the woods brings you peace. You can be hours, days. You can be days waiting, and you don't move, you don't talk, and you've got this peace. And if nothing comes, it's okay. You had the peace. You're happy. That is all. You just like you eat sandwiches. So it's a meditation.
Mhm.
It's just a meditation. This winter, we went fishing several times. We went ice fishing. We did not catch anything. The only thing we had is that we had a good time. That is all. So we were in the outdoor and we love it. It's Canada. It's cold.
Mhm. Yes, definitely. And I can tell by your face. Your face is just lights up when you talk about that. Going ice fishing out in the woods and the nature, and it's a wonderful thing. And I always tell people that the best things in life are free. You know, the sunshine, the nature, seeing the water. I mean, the best things, just go for a walk. Those are the best things in life. Spending time with the people that you love.
Yes, exactly. Because, here we walk out the door and we cross 5 deer in the yard. So the thing is that we don't shoot them. We just give them food. That is what we do. We do not shoot them. We just love them. That is what we do because, it's it's our way of being grounded with life, with nature. We're just happy. We have wild turkeys and wild geese. It's quite crazy, but the thing is that it's really fun. We really have fun here. It's great. It's a great country to start with. So the thing is that that's why I love being here because of the peace. It's peaceful. The country is so beautiful. It's pretty much spruce and well, there's maple trees here, pretty much maple trees. But it's not like you. You have a beautiful place. Florida is beautiful. I went several times, but it is not the same thing. It's not the same life.
Mhm.
But Florida is a great place, though. I know that. I do like Florida.
Yeah, it is beautiful. Well, if people wanted to connect with you in some way, where do they go to connect with you? Where can they find your books?
Okay, they can actually connect with me on Instagram at Diva Divine Mother _. I always answer my messages. They can write to me at the email divadivinemother@gmail.com. There's also my Facebook page, which is called Reverend Lydia Fougères, author. Reverend Lydia Fougères, author. So they can actually join me there. So I will answer also. I always answer my messages. They can buy my books on Amazon. So it is called 111 Reflections for Thy Earth Odyssey, tomes 1 and 2. They can buy them on Ingram Spark also, tomes 1 and 2. They are available on Audible, and they are available in ebook form also. They will be available soon in English and Spanish, in French and Spanish.
Wonderful. Thank you. So now I have a personal question for you.
Okay,
What gives you the most happiness and fulfillment in your life at this point?
helping, helping. Yes, the luck of being able to help around me, the volunteer work, having people communicate with me and share their burden. Yes, that does make me happy because I can make a difference. That makes me happy. And I am so grateful that I can do it.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And thanks for being on the podcast today and for all your wisdom.
Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure being with you. You are such a marvelous person. So thank you very much, Dr. Kimberly. It was a very nice moment with you. And thank you to all those that do watch the podcast. So please buy the book, and you will see that your path to wisdom is just a book away.
Wonderful. Thank you. So I have one last question before we finish.
Yes.
What is your best advice in living an incredible, amazing life?
My best advice would be live in the present moment. Just be aware, live in the present moment. Just don't seek something elsewhere. Just take what is going on right now. And then, take whatever is happening, take it right now. Don't start analyzing everything. Just live it to the maximum. And whatever happens, if it's negative, we'll try to take the lesson from the negative situation, because there's always something good that comes from every situation. We have to remember that. Situations happen for us to learn, to grow.
All right. Thank you so much, Reverend Lydia.
So it's my pleasure. So thank you very much for having me. So
We'll
goodbye,
talk to you again
everyone.